All right, well, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order with a statement of proper notice. Notice of this meeting has been posted on the Municipal Bulletin Board and forwarded to the Hopewell Valley News, the Trentonian, Mercer Me, and the Hopewell Express on January 6, 2026, in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975. Roll call, please.
Committee Member Kuczynski is absent. Committee Member Peters Manning is absent. Committee Member Ruger.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Pirandara.
Here.
Mayor Chait.
Here. Great. If you wouldn't mind, if you're able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, well, firstly, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I know it is a stormy night, so I appreciate that. And also, again, safety is paramount. And so, if there's anything that we all need to be abreast of, we will let everybody know. And of course, on that. The other thing to note is transparency and accessibility of meetings is one of the most important things, which is why our meetings are always here live, why we have Zoom, and why we also broadcast them. I do want to note that televised broadcast right now, we are aware and have been working on it the last several hours. It is not working this evening. Now, what we are able to do is still have the recording and upload it after the fact. But for those who might be tuning in, watching it after the fact, we apologize and we're aware and we're working on fixing it. And so I just want to note that. And again, getting that fixed for the future is very important. Okay, so with that, in terms of additional items or changes to the meeting agenda, we are going to remove 8A, that bond ordinance, which does require 4 members to be here. So we will push that to the next meeting. Also, Resolution 9C, which I'm very excited when we talk about later, will be as amended, and we do have an amended version there. But with that, why don't we move into committee member and staff reports, and we can start with Mr. Snyder.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and committee members. I just have one thing to report tonight. Back in February, on February 7th, the Green Team, Hopewell Valley Green Team, along with Public Works, had a very successful scrap metal drive. It had great turnout, in spite of the cold, in spite of it being Super Bowl weekend. And they recycled nearly 4,000 pounds of scrap metal, just a few pounds shy of 4,000. Very successful event. So it diverted all that scrap metal from the waste stream. And but next year, we're looking to have it probably in the spring, a little warmer weather, and hopefully even better turnout.
Wonderful. Well, that's really great to hear.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Ms. Burkhead.
Good evening, Mayor and Committee. I have nothing to report.
Great. Mr. Goodell?
I do have something to report. Last week, Judge Logie signed our consent order, which means that at present we have a 4th round plan that gives us immunity from developers' remedy lawsuits. There are some conditions to that order, and we are now engaged in fulfilling those conditions, including passage of an ordinance that you'll have before you later tonight, and I think
Okay. Oh, thank you for that. Sound good. Are we? I was wondering if it was raining. I thought it sounded like it was raining. All right, I think we're good. I think we're good now. All right. Thank you, everybody. Again, when it rains, it pours, and that feels very appropriate for tonight. So apologies for some of the technical. Thank you for the update. And again, as we've been going through really since November, but continuing on, as far as for our affordable housing obligation, there are a lot of steps in these processes. And so they will continue on, and there will be a lot on the agenda, a lot of updates throughout the year and throughout the next decade. Okay, Ms. Troutman.
The only thing to report is, as you know, we continue to work on our 2026 budget, and since our last meeting, we did a filing of our annual financial statement through the state portal called the FAST, and met the statutory deadline of which to make that filing happen.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for that. Continuing on. Ms. Fenton Newman.
I have nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Great. Committee Member Ruger.
The Open Space Advisory Committee will be tomorrow night here at 7 o'clock.
Wonderful. And Deputy Mayor, I love how we're all just sitting so close tonight.
Environmental Commission is going to meet on the Zoom at 7 o'clock as well tomorrow.
Wonderful. And on my side, no updates beyond a lot of the exciting things on the agenda this evening. And so with that, we are now in our first public comment section. If anyone would like to speak, if you are here in the room, please come up to the podium, state your name, where you live, and you have 3 minutes. And anyone on Zoom, feel free to raise your hand. Again, we will take all the questions and comments first, and then we will answer following. So anybody? Not seeing anyone in the room. Is there anyone on Zoom?
If you're on Zoom and would like to make a comment, please raise your hand. Deb Miliaris, would you please unmute?
Yes.
You can go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I would like to speak about the redevelopment plans involving Block 85 and Block 86 in Hopewell Township, and the continuing traffic and infrastructure concerns tied to the Pennington Circle on US Route 31. When the township first designated this area as a non-condemnation area in need of redevelopment under the New Jersey Local Redevelopment and Housing Law, one of the stated goals was to improve safety and traffic flow around the Pennington Circle. But today, we are seeing the opposite trend. Development has increased dramatically while traffic pressure on the circle continues to grow. The Hopewell Park project by Lennar has already been built on this Ames tract, bringing hundreds of new homes and hundreds of additional vehicles onto our roadways. At the same time, a new townhouse development along 31 is currently under construction, adding yet another layer of traffic entering the same corridor. And the expansion is not stopping there. Hopewell Township Planning Board has also approved the venue at Hopewell project, while also increases approximately 600 additional homes. In addition, the township will be moving forward with the 4th round of affordable housing proposal on Bull Run Road, although it is still yet to be approved completely. This will bring even more residential units into our community. So we have to ask a very basic question. How can the township's aging infrastructure realistically keep up with this level of development? Every one of these homes means one more daily vehicle trip. Residents commuting to work, parents driving to school, deliveries, service vehicles, and visitors. Much of that traffic ultimately converges at the Pennington Circle on Route 31, which has long been recognized as a challenging and accident-prone intersection. Over the years, additional commercial development has also increased traffic pressure around that circle. A CVS pharmacy was recently constructed, the liquor store was relocated, and ShopRite Shopping Center continues to generate significant traffic volumes. Each of these changes adds more turning movements, more congestion at the intersection, and more struggling with safety and circulation issues. Even today, I was passed on the left when I was going straight on that circle. Anyone regularly drives through the circle understands how difficult it can be during peak times. When the township first discussed redevelopment in this area, officials emphasized the need to reduce driveway conflicts, improve traffic flow, and yet what residents are experiencing today is more development, more vehicles, increasing congestion, and the same road network. Growth in community is not necessarily a bad thing, but responsible planning requires that infrastructure keeps pace with that development.
Thank you.
So I just have one more thing. So
Okay, well, your time, I apologize, your 3 minutes, we do have to keep to the 3 minutes there. We will have another, I appreciate all these points that I will answer, and we do have another public comment section. coming up later in the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you. I do see another hand on Zoom.
Yes. Dean Innocenzi, please unmute. Yes.
I just wanted to comment that I did hear the county purchased a bunch of land to preserve Rider College recently. I don't know if that's something that maybe someone could look into regarding this PCNJ land around Bull Run. I mean, I know that their goal is to just get it sold one way or another. And I also feel that, like, on this end of the township, the Ewing side, there was just, you know, very, very little green land left, you know, and forest for the animals and all that. So, I don't know, maybe it's something that should be looked into.
Thank you.
Miss-
And
This for now.
Mr.
Yeah.
Innocenzi, can we have your address, please?
26 Flower Hill Drive.
Thank you very much.
and while we are still in public, I know we've had some new members join in the room. If anybody wants to speak.
Don't get old. Richard Fletcher, 24 Orchard Avenue, Pennington, New Jersey. It's been over a year. I asked over a year ago about some type of ordinance, something being written for porta potties. Porta potty blew over from my neighbor's construction site, which is still in operation, which has been nothing but a mess. I don't know how your zoning or whoever allowed this to go through, to put a house that size with a single car driveway 4 inches off my property line. How are they going to park cars there and stuff? This house, they went back 30 more feet, 2 stories to the whole house. Where are you going to put cars? You putting the parking lot out on the street now for them? I don't know. But I've asked over a year ago when that porta potty blew over in my front yard. This committee's the same committee, but hasn't done anything, checked into nothing, done nothing. Like I told you, Dave, Mayor, I feel like a second-class citizen in the southeast quadrant of this township. We get dumped on. The other day, a week ago, I called Public Works. Pothole right in the middle of the street, back out of my driveway, hit it every time. Called to get that fixed. They came out right away, did a great job. But there's a pothole right at the entrance of the street on Orchard side. They didn't do that. What are we paying? We're taxpayers paying their salary in Public Works and all these health department, everything. Why aren't their eyes open? They got blinders on. They don't look for another pothole to fill. If you're going down the street, fill the potholes. Don't run down for just one pothole. That's a waste of my taxpayer dollars. Drive around the township all day looking for Christmas trees. People had no problem picking that tree up and taking it to their house. I have an artificial tree. You've never picked a piece of branch or anything off my property. Put it out there till the brush pick up. Public Works shouldn't be driving around all day long picking up Christmas trees or just going around looking for Christmas trees. That's a waste of my taxpayer dollars. Health Department. Over a year ago, the septic system that was dug up next to me, the septic tank, after they backfilled to seal it, has caved in like this. Grass grows up over it. A kid's going to fall there with a bike. I've brought this up a number of times. Quandra's been down. Don't ever have Jason call me again. I get better results talking to the tires on my car than on the phone with that guy. Oh, can I come out and see it? Come out all you want. He's asking me. All he did was piss me off more. Never been out there as far as I know. The house is back up for rent. It's a rental. Ewing Township, I own a house in Ewing. If I was to rent my house out in Ewing, it's $1,000 the township gets for rentals, for inspections and everything else. This township doesn't do that. There's an income for this township. You don't check for CO detectors. You don't check for smoke detectors. You don't make it safe for rentals or nothing. I think this township needs to start. Gary, I think my time went over.
Your time is up, and I want to hold everyone to the same standard
All
of timing.
I'll
but I
come back
appreciate
at the end. You're going to have another one, right?
Of course.
Okay, I'll be back.
Right. Now, is there anyone else in the room or on Zoom?
No one's raising their hand on Zoom there.
All right, then we're going to go ahead and close public, and I'm going to take these in order. First, Ms. Miliaris, I really, really appreciate your comments, and I do agree, and I do know that the entire committee really puts a heightened focus on road and traffic safety. It's why, so many of the things, whether it's the new four-way stop signs, looking into speed limits like the recent changes on Bear Tavern Road, or even in relation to 31, which to your note on the collections and others are seeing impacts, of course, in terms of traffic, the light at Ingleside, long-term advocacy and pieces there. And so on the two sides of things, number one, want to note how important we also view road and traffic safety. And as with anything, these are processes, and we continue to focus on that, continue to look, continue to learn, and continue to invest in that, and invest in the infrastructure underlying it, from that to our roads program. In terms of the questions around infrastructure and the questions around affordable housing in and of itself, as we talk about often here, we have an unfunded mandate as a township to deliver affordable housing based off of certain rules and regulations. There are frankly certain locations where that can occur and others where it cannot. And what our job is to do is to, number one, deliver on that as best as possible, and number two, to focus on those areas like safety, light infrastructure, which we are. But what I want to note and appreciate is your advocacy, appreciate your concerns, and hearing that is important for us, and we continue on that. But I will just see if any of my colleagues have anything to add, or if Mr. Goodell has anything to add there.
I think it's fair to say that all of the growth that you referred to is directly related to the affordable housing mandates. None of those developments would have been put into place but for the fact that we had a third round requirement that was overwhelming, and each of those developers filed lawsuits, and this is what came out of a court settlement. That's why we see it.
Absolutely. He says things better than I do. That's why we have him here.
But as part of the process, though, isn't a standard part to do traffic studies to understand what the impact is on traffic when there is a new development?
Sure. The planning board is going to look at traffic studies every time. Every time there's a new development, the planning board is going to look at traffic studies. However, the planning board cannot use traffic as a reason to say no to a development, as long as the zoning's in place. So if we have zoned an area, or we have a redevelopment plan for an area that says that it can be developed up to a certain density, then the planning board cannot on its own say that is too much density. We don't like what's going to happen with the traffic.
But, just so I understand, when a traffic study is done, I fully understand that the planning board can't say no because there's increased traffic.
Right.
But would a traffic study indicate whether, for example, another lane is necessary on the road, additional traffic lights, additional egress, or something like that? Is that part of what is discovered during the traffic study?
Studies can tell us, they commonly tell us what the impact is going to be on every impacted intersection. And they'll let us know whether the, based on the, what traffic engineers look at and the data studies, whether the impact on those intersections is going to cause the intersections to fail or whether it will be acceptable. Now, I think we all understand that sitting in traffic is not acceptable to us, but that doesn't mean that the particular intersection is a failing intersection. So yes, traffic studies will determine whether or not an impacted intersection is going to fail or not. Traffic studies are also going to help the designers of the development design the best ingress and egress for that development, and also determine the best flow within the development.
Thank you, that's very helpful.
Okay. Thank you for that. Mr. Innocenzi, thank you for your comment. We are aware of the county purchase of the land adjacent to Ryder, or from Ryder rather. In terms of additional purchases or things that may come from the county involving other universities or institutions, we can't speak for the county or thing there, just as they can't speak for us. But your comments and thoughts are noted on pieces there. Mr. Fletcher, thank you for coming out. I know you and I have talked on the phone many a time, and as always, appreciate your thoughts and appreciate that I know so many of those thoughts come from helping, the township improve in things there. Number one, in relation to the pothole, I am glad to hear that Public Works came out and fixed that swiftly. In terms of the additional one that was on the street, I think, those are the types of things that's helpful to know. I apologize if that wasn't something that was noticed, but we always are vigilant for where there's opportunities, and so we definitely will pass that along there. In terms of your thoughts regarding Christmas tree and tree pickups and things there, that's a helpful data point. There's a practical reality that not all services that the township provides are ones that everyone gets the same utility from. But what our goal is to provide a broad range of services that are really maximized for all of our residents. And so I appreciate that and genuinely, and our goal is to maximize for all. In terms of the porta potty, and I know we've all chatted a lot on that, it's unfortunate, that spill that happened on your property, and that's not something that we make any light of in things there. We have had many a conversation with Mr. Dorsey, our health officer, along with others, regarding that situation. And again, looking at what are potential things there, setbacks, et cetera. And there are some realities on what actually could or would make sense, as we've talked about, relating to sizes of land, et cetera, that makes certain changes there impractical. Having said that, we want to keep the conversation going. We will pass this along once again and continue on our side. But I hear you. And again, as you know, always open dialogue, always, in addition to coming to public meetings, you have my cell phone, and I'm always here to continue chatting. On that, I'll open up for anything from others.
So I actually have a question, Mr. Snyder. I live on a county road, which is a different story, but I know the county came out and filled a pothole near my house and didn't fill one that was like 10 feet up from my house. It might be because, and there might be a very good reason why they didn't do it. Maybe they filled it late in the day, they had, something else they had to do. But what's our procedure for our public works if they're out fixing pothole A and they happen to see pothole B and C?
So they are prioritized, and they have a list. And I know it sounds illogical to skip over a pothole, but sometimes there are ones that could be more important or dangerous than others. So they typically work off a list of requests that we have. And
a kind of a simple question for me: how long does it take to fill a pothole?
That's a good question. So it could take anywhere from 3 minutes to 45 minutes, depending on how you do it. A quick way to do it is just stop, throw some, whether hot mix or cold mix in there, run it over, or tamp it down, and leave. But then they could also jackhammer around the edge, take the water out, pump water out. If there's water in it, put the sub base down, heat it, tamp it, roll it. So, and so there's a balance. How many we want to get done quickly, and or if they're really serious, the road's really deteriorating, then we have a whole nother list where they go out, Public Works goes out and addresses all these at once.
And when let's take the smaller pothole.
Mm-hmm.
Is a driver able to drive over it right away when that's done, or does it have to be kind of blocked off for some period of time for the material to start to dry or harden?
They could drive over it right away.
Okay. I was just curious because I think there were approximately 47 cones in front of the pothole near my house. It was like a forest of cones. I think every cone in the county was there. So I didn't know if there was some reason that they had to keep it blocked off for some period of time. Maybe it was the size of the pothole.
And also, traffic safety, also, or worker safety. That's true, especially on a busy road. And I'm not sure where the other pothole is that Mr. Fletcher's talking about, if it's at the intersection of Route 31. Some of them are on Route 31 right away. Sometimes we do get them just to get them out of the way. It's not good practice, especially if it's the state's responsibility. However, we have done it. And also, that's a dangerous intersection. So we might have a two-man crew out where, for that pothole, need traffic control also.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. But building on that, which I think is an important thing to note, and I love recent examples, is there is that line of communication between the municipality, the state, but also the county, because as noted, certain roads are operated by others. And we literally had an example over the weekend where a resident reached out due to a pothole and an unfortunate tire incident on Lawrenceville-Pennington Road. George, or Mr. Snyder and myself and Public Works spoke this morning, and outreach to the county has already happened. And that is, again, while there are roads have different owners, that lines of communication is clear on that when those instances are there. Anything else from committee or others? All right, with that, we will move on to minutes submitted for approval. A, special budget regular and executive meeting minutes of March 2nd, 2026. B, special budget meeting minutes of March 9th, 2026. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Seeing no opposed or abstention, this passes. All right, moving on to ordinances for final reading, public hearing and adoption. As noted, Ordinance 8A, bond ordinance on the agenda, we are not going to be going through tonight as it requires 4 Township Committee members to be here. But we will start with 8B, ordinance of the Township of Hopewell, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, repealing and replacing Chapter 10-17, affordable housing development fees in the Code of the Township of Hopewell. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second? Great, Mr. Goodell.
This is one of those requirements that I was talking about. We introduced this 2 weeks ago with a updated affordable housing ordinance. That went to the planning board where it's going to be reviewed because that affects our zoning requirements. This affects our fee requirements. So we are adopting this pursuant to our police power as opposed to our zoning power. And it simply updates what we had before and makes our fees compliant with the 4th round.
Okay, wonderful. With that, we will have a public hearing on this ordinance and this ordinance only. So if anyone would like to speak on this ordinance, please come up to the microphone, state your name, where you live, and feel free to comment, or if you are on Zoom, raise your hand. Not seeing anyone in the room. Anyone on Zoom?
No one on Zoom there.
All right, can I have a motion to close public?
So moved.
Second? Great. Anything from the committee? All right, can we move to a vote?
Oh, yeah, we didn't do it all in favor on.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
Committee Member Ruger,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pierandari,
Yes.
Mayor Chase,
Yes.
and the ordinance passes. And this ordinance has been adopted on final reading and will be identified as number 26-1867.
Great. Moving along to ordinances for introduction and first reading, where we have 3. First, A, an ordinance amending various chapters of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Hopewell, 1978, for consistency with the new public notice law. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
In a second?
Second.
Ms. Fenton Newman.
Oh, is this for me to explain?
If not, we can, Mr.
Oh,
Goodell?
okay, I didn't even realize that. Sorry.
I apologize.
Okay.
Our quick notes.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, we had to revise the ordinance because of the new state posting guidelines on the, for legal notices and meeting notices and things like that. And Mr. Goodell's office was nice enough to go through and point out the areas where we needed to change our ordinance to be in compliance with the law. And this will bring us in compliance.
Yeah. And so again, into compliance and really just modernization of our ordinances to be compliant, and specifically this allows for legal notices to be posted online versus newspapers.
This was a really wonderful initiative by the legislature last year. They finally recognized that the newspaper industry is suffering and that the obligation of municipalities to publish their notices in a newspaper of general circulation was getting harder and harder, and that nobody was reading those newspapers. So now we have to publish them where everybody goes to look, which is online. However, there's still an option to publish in an online publication that's recognized by the state. So for instance, NJ.com, the Old Star Ledger, they operate they operate an online publication throughout the state. We could publish there if we wanted to spend the money to do it. Otherwise, we just have to publish on our website, which is free for us. And so this every time our ordinance has said publish, now it says put on the website.
Okay. Yeah, and modernization and flexibility are wonderful things. Anything from the committee?
So I'm going to be honest, this makes me a little sad. There are 564 municipalities in New Jersey and 21 counties. That is a lot of revenue that local newspapers used to get. I am imagining that the recommendation we will have is that we probably will reduce the amount of money that we spend on any kind of notices, because that is the responsible thing for us to do if we can save money for taxpayers. But it distresses me that this is another revenue stream that disappears for local newspapers. You know, I'm a big fan of the 21st century. I like living in it. But at the same time, you know, there is a role for local newspapers in American communities. And, you know, this is something that will not help them in the end. I will support it. But because this is I guess it's sort of a reverse mandate, because this one is actually saving us money as opposed to costing us money. So I guess from that standpoint, yay state. But you know, at the same time, I am concerned about the health of local journalism.
Yeah, but I think what is fair, the ordinance itself doesn't prescribe how we operate. It provides the flexibility, but your points are very well taken. Yeah. All right. Seeing that, why don't we move to a vote?
Committee Member Ruger?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pirandari?
Yes.
Mayor Chait?
Yes.
Okay, the ordinance has been introduced on its first reading and will be published on the Township's official municipal website in accordance with PL 2025, Chapter 72. Second reading and public hearing date will be set for April 13th.
Yes. And that is a good time to note that, we will be sharing out shortly, that our next meeting will be on April 13th. That'll be moving. Okay, moving on. Ordinance B, an ordinance granting consent to New Jersey American Water Company, Inc. to provide water service in the construction, expansion, and maintenance of water facilities in the public right-of-way in a portion of the Township of Hopewell. May I have a motion, please, and a second?
So moved.
Second?
Great. Mr. Snyder?
Thank you, Mayor. Hopewell Borough is in the process of selling their water system to New Jersey American Water. 41 Hopewell Township homes are served by the Hopewell Borough's water system. And so this ordinance grants New Jersey American Water consent to serve the 41 township properties currently connected to the water system. It also authorizes utility to use township right-of-way for water infrastructure improvements and repairs for up to 50 years.
Okay. Any questions from the committee? All right.
Committee Member
Vote.
Ruger?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pirandari?
Yes.
Mayor Chait?
Yes.
This ordinance has been introduced on its first reading and will be published on the Township's official municipal website in accordance with PL 2025, Chapter 72. And the second reading and public hearing date, it will be set for April 13th.
Great. Next, we'll move on to Ordinance C, but before we do, this is where we're going to have a little bit of audience participation. Who watched the Oscars last night? Anyone? Anyone see any of the films on there with Hopewell Township in it? There weren't, but just you wait. Okay. Ordinance C, an ordinance adopting New Jersey's Film Ready program. Can I have a motion in a second?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Great. So this builds upon it. As many have seen, there's been a huge statewide investment in the film industry within New Jersey. Probably the largest scale investment that's visible is the Netflix campus in Fort Monmouth, but the New Jersey EDA has a film-ready certification program that essentially puts municipalities and townships that go through that process in a database to where you can be found and discovered for filming within your municipality. Now, why this is important is why yes, it would be cool to see, the township in a film. What it really comes down to is economic development. Because when a film crew is in town, what they are doing is they are staying places, they are getting things dry cleaned, they're buying pizza, they're using electricians and other things, and there's a multiplier effect. I want to thank Committee Member Ruger, who really brought this to us probably about a year and a half ago now, I would say. We have since gone through many, many steps in the process, and you actually heard us talk about it in here where we did some updates previous. This ordinance is the final step for that, and specifically calling out what are those regulations and things that film crews and those have to abide by when coming into the township. And so, again, part of our overarching commitment to economic development, and exciting to see this continue on, and hopefully the next steps come to fruition. Okay, anything else from the committee?
So, Mayor, I really appreciate your continual pursuit of this. I know that you had to work with the commission to get us to this point. I think one of the things that folks should realize is that fewer than 10% of the communities in New Jersey are film-ready certified. So this puts us in a very small group of people, and it means that when a location producer is looking for a place, that they're going to go to this database, they are going to see Hopewell Township, they are going to see pictures of Hopewell Township. If they want a road with 4 trees on it, they can see a road with 4 trees. We have our processes that ensures that they're going to be able to get their permit, that they're not going to have to go through 900 hoops to get it, making it easy, because there is the economic development, but there is also the other part of it. And what we've seen time and time again is that when people see things, movies, TV programs, whatever, and they like it, they like to visit the places. And I've always felt that one of the things about Hopewell Township, and the reason that I really love the work that the TDAC committee is doing, is that when you visit Hopewell Township, some of the people who visit will say, hey, you know what, this would be a great place to live. That means people will buy a house. Some people will come and say, you know what, this is also a great place to start a business. And they start a business and they create jobs. And that's how you get to economic development, and that's how you are able to grow the community and grow opportunities so that there is a base of people who are buying homes, people who are coming in, people who are raising families, and people who can find jobs here. So this is a small part, but I think that it is an important part.
Thank you. It's a great step.
I just would like to give both of you kudos. I know you both worked very hard to get us to this point, and can't wait to see some pictures of the Hopewell Township in the upcoming movies.
Yeah,
Right?
it'll be exciting.
Next year, Oscar probably.
Yeah. All right, why don't we move on to a vote?
Committee Member Ruger,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pirondari,
Yes.
and Mayor Chait.
Yes.
This ordinance has been introduced on first reading and will be published on the Township's official municipal website in accordance with PL 2025, Chapter 72. Second reading and public hearing date will be set for April 13th.
Thank you. Next, we have the consent agenda. Is there anything to be removed from anyone from the consent agenda? All right. Resolution A, a resolution authorizing refunds for Hopewell Township Recreation Department program participants. B, resolution of Hopewell Township to accept a donation from the Hopewell Valley Senior Foundation. C, resolution of the Hopewell Township to accept a donation from Capital Health System. D, resolution for redemption of tax sale certificates. E, a resolution authorizing refund of paid tax due to veteran exemption granted on Block 52, Lot 68, and cancellation of 2026 taxes. F, a resolution authorizing refund of paid tax due to veteran exemption granted on Block 63, Lot 12, and cancellation of 2026 taxes. G, resolution establishing a policy for the timely endorsement of grant applications. H, a resolution ratifying and authorizing Mayor Chait and committee member Peters Manning to execute a letter of support for a grant application on behalf of the Union Fire Company and Rescue Squad. I, a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a letter of support for Friends of Hopewell Valley Open Spaces Community Project funding request. J, a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a letter of support for DNR Greenway Land Trust's application to the Mercer County Trails Construction Grant Program for the Hillside Farm Preserve All Abilities Loop Trail Project. K, a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a letter of support for the Sourland Conservancy's request for federal funding. L, resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a support and confirmation letter to the New Jersey State Agriculture Development Committee for the farmland preservation application of Southwind Farms LLC, SADC ID 11-0055-DE, Block 50, Lots 3.0.01 and 42. M, resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a support and confirmation letter to the New Jersey State Agriculture Development Committee for the farmland preservation application of Hoke Robert J. Jr. et al., SADC ID 11-0062-DE, Block 89, Lots 12.02, 12.03, 12.04, and 12.05. A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a right-of-way confirmation letter to the State Agriculture Development Committee, SADC, regarding the Gillespie Farmland Preservation, Block 29, Lot 11. O, a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a letter of support for the Lawrence Hopewell Trail Corporation's application for the fiscal year 2027 congressionally directed spending for the Elm Ridge Trail Reconstruction Project. And P, resolution approving the application of Delaware Valley Old Time Power and Equipment Association to conduct a public exhibition. Can I have a motion and second?
Could you repeat that, please? So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Seeing no opposed or abstention, this all passes. Signed a lot of letters in the last week or two, as you all can tell. Okay, moving on to our resolutions. A resolution to enter into an agreement with International Fireworks MFG Inc. and the Hopewell Valley Veterans Association for a fireworks display on June 27th, 2026. May I please have a motion and a second?
So move.
Mr. Snyder.
Sure, it's pretty simple. The resolution authorizes the mayor to sign an agreement with International Fireworks for the fireworks on June 27th. The rain date is Sunday, June 28th. And the fireworks show is at Woolsey Park. And the show is sponsored by the Hopewell Valley Veterans Association.
And it's one of our favorite events of the year, so we hope everyone will be there. And it's an extra special year, as it is, again, America's 250th. So looking forward to it. Anything from the committee?
No, we are all looking forward to it.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Seeing no opposed or abstention, this passes. B, Governor's Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse Fiscal Grant, July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2027. Can I have a motion and second, please?
So move.
Second.
Mr. Snyder.
Thank you. So, well, first I'd like to say the Hopewell Valley Municipal Alliance has a meeting here Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. if anybody wants to attend, and they do great work. So this resolution authorizes submission of the fiscal year 26-27 Municipal Alliance Plan and acknowledges the cash contribution. Hopewell Township's cash match is $14,000, and the entire grant amount is $18,727.
Great. And appreciate, again, all the wonderful work they do. And so glad for us to have that matching portion. Anything from the committee? All in favor? Aye. Seeing no opposed or abstention, this passes. C, a resolution authorizing the township's redevelopment engineer to sign certain documents. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Burkhead.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution authorizing the redevelopment engineer to sign specific NJDEP documentation and engineering documents related to the Southfield Force Main relocation. Mark Katriniak was authorized to sign these documents when he was the township engineer. Elsa has asked for an updated version of this ordinance since Mark is no longer the township engineer and is now the redevelopment engineer. The authority would last 18 months.
Okay. And so this seems, again, like just an efficiency measure given the work that was already done there. Anything from the committee?
No.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. D, resolution of the Township of Hopewell, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, authorizing contract through Educational Services Commission of New Jersey, cooperative contract vendor, turf equipment and supply through 65 MCE SCC PS-ES CNJ 22/23-12. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Snyder.
A large grooming mower to maintain Hopewell Township's open space areas was approved in the 2026 budget and will be funded by open space funds. So this resolution authorizes the purchase on the ESCNJ co-op.
Great. And glad to see moving forward with that following budget discussions.
Yes.
Agreed.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. E, a resolution of the Township of Hopewell, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, authorizing the execution of Sourcewell National Cooperative Contract 112124-KON with Konica Minolta for the rental of multifunctional copier systems. Can I have a motion and a second?
Second.
Mr. Snyder.
So the township, the organization has several multifunction copiers throughout the departments, and their leases are on a rotating basis, so they're all not due at one time. And so currently, the 5-year contract for Public Works and Community Development expires, and this resolution authorizes a 60-month lease for those copiers, and the cost also covers toner and service calls.
Yeah. And one of the conversations that we had just for everyone's knowledge was the question of leasing versus purchase, because as you know, those have sort of different equations there, and the servicing of it, the toner inclusions, et cetera, make this the most economically viable method for copiers. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And Deputy Mayor, during budget discussions, Deputy Mayor asked a question about leasing computers versus purchasing computers. I received some information yesterday from our IT consultants. I will share that with the committee once I review it.
Wonderful. Thank you. Anything else from the committee? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. F, resolution adopting the spending plan to effectuate the housing element and fair share plan. Have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Snyder.
Thank you. So this resolution adopts the township spending plan as required under the 4th round affordable housing process. The plan governs the use of affordable housing trust funds from 2025 to 2035.
And much like the fees that were in ordinance, this is just part of the standard processes that we go through as a part of the plan.
Off-the-shelf ordinance.
Yeah. All right.
A resolution.
Anything from the committee? All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. G, authorizing the implementation of an affordability assistance program and adoption of the affordability assistance manual. May I have a motion and a second?
So, second.
Mr. Snyder.
2 additional off-the-shelf resolutions. This one adopts the Township Affordability Assistance Manual and authorizes staff to administer assistance programs. Ensures compliance with the amended FHA requirements to dedicate a portion of the trust funds to affordability assistance. We currently have assistance manual in place. This just updates it with the 4th round obligations.
Okay. So another one there. Anything from the committee?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. H, resolution adopting an affirmative marketing manual. Can I have a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Snyder, again.
Yes. Adopting the Township Affirmative Marketing Manual to ensure fair and inclusive outreach for affordable housing units. The plan is required under the New Jersey Uniform Housing Affordability Controls and the consent order the township agreed to.
Great. And so again, continuing on with the needs there. Nothing for the committee. All in favor? Aye. Resolution passes. I, debt service maturation resolution maturing on April 1st, 2026. Can I have a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Troutman.
Thank you, Mayor. So as we are still on our temporary budget this year, this resolution is in recognition and making authorization to make our debt service obligation payments.
Okay. And it's good to make those payments.
Yes.
Anything from the committee? Roll call, please.
Committee Member Ruger,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pirandari,
Yes.
Mayor Chait,
Yes.
and resolution passes.
Wonderful. J, a resolution for an emergency temporary appropriation in the Elsa sewer utility budget. Yes, that is a very good point. We are going to take the next three together, J, K, and L. J, resolution for an emergency temporary appropriation in the Elsa sewer utility budget. K, a resolution for an emergency temporary appropriation in the SBRSA sewer utility budget for Stony Brook. And L, a resolution for an emergency temporary appropriation in the water utility budget. Can I have a motion and a second?
I'll move them all.
Second all?
Ms. Troutman?
Thank you. So the explanation on all of these three together is that while we are on our temporary budget, the term emergency does sound frightening, but it literally just means we need to increase our temporary budget to be able to continue our operations. I projected these through what I would anticipate to be our adopted budget would be in place.
Okay. Great. Anything from the committee? All right. Roll call, please.
Committee Member Ruger,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pirandari,
Yes.
Mayor Chait.
Yes.
All three resolutions pass.
M, Township of Hopewell resolution requiring that the Lawrence Hopewell Trail shall not be open to the public on the portion of trail subject to the January 27th, 2017 easement agreement until all requirements of paragraph 6 are satisfied. Can I have a motion and a second?
Samo?
Second?
Ms. Burkhead?
Thank you, Mayor. The township and the property owner have established an easement to facilitate the construction of the Lawrence Hopewell Trail. According to the easement agreement, an electric line crosses the trail to serve Block 20, Lot 18, which are the easement grantors. The agreement specifies that the power line must be relocated and installed underground. This issue has not been it was not identified by Boswell Engineering during the design phase, so we are addressing this now. The grantor has requested written confirmation from the township stating that the trail will not be open to the public until the electric line has been relocated. John Murray and David Sandall from LHT have agreed to this condition. Additionally, NJDEP does not permit tree removal between April 1st and October 15th due to bat migration, and the contractor is scheduled to begin tree removal. Was supposed to be today, however, due to weather, it was not.
Okay. But still ample time before the April 1st deadline.
Correct, let's hope so.
Yeah. Okay. Fingers crossed there. Anything from the committee?
No, that's it. Thank you. I mean, we are aware of this issue and we are working to get the resolution for this electric wiring go underground and be compliant with the, not compliant, but just to make the easement possible from the property owners and, satisfy their requirement, whatever their request is, since we are asking for the easement. Yeah.
We are actually meeting with PSE&G on site Wednesday with their engineer to figure out which of the three
Options.
methods is the best.
Yeah.
Because one will go through the wetlands, one will be with the trail. They think the easier one is to follow the driveway, but they're gonna let the engineer for
Owners.
PSE&G and the owner discuss it and see which is best.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for taking lead on that and helping LHT.
Anything else from the committee? All right, all in favor? Aye. Okay. We have two bills and claims today. Are we able to do bills and claims number 2? Okay.
Yes. Yep, three.
Okay, great. First, we have bills and claims number 1. Can I have a motion? And a second? Second. Ms. Troutman?
Thank you. So the bills and claims number 1 represents the general payments of the township. It also includes the April school district payment that will hold till it comes closer to the due date, but with the timing of our April meeting, I wanted to make sure we got it on to this bills and claims.
Great. I appreciate the proactive on that. Anything from the committee? All right, roll call, please.
Committee Member Ruger,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pirandari,
Yes.
Mayor Chait,
Yes.
and bills and claims number 1 passes.
Great. Next, bills and claims number 2. Can I have a motion? And I will second it. Ms. Troutman?
Yes, this payment represents a payment to our Comcast provider.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Committee Member Ruger,
Abstain?
Deputy Mayor Pirandare,
Yes.
Mayor J,
Yes.
and bills and claims number 2 passes.
All right, we are now in our second public section of the meeting. If you would like to speak, please come up to the podium or raise your hand on Zoom. Please state your name, where you live, and you have 3 minutes. As always, we'll take all of the comments and questions first, and then we'll respond to them. So why don't we open that up?
Good evening, Jim Bird, Hopewell Township. I'd like to find out who the president is of the New Jersey Institute of Local Government Authorities. You are? And for how long?
You know that.
How long?
2 years.
So this is your last year?
Correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Fletcher, and then I see on Zoom.
Okay, next door at the construction site has a dumpster there finally. First, they put a first dumpster out in the roadway, and they were going to leave it there overnight. Had to call Township Police. Actually, the administrator called Township Police an hour and 20 minutes to get them down there, though. But, which makes me think, if I need a police officer, how long should it really take to get somebody down there? I had to call George twice. Left it in the roadway. Manny came out, asked the dumpster company to move it into the driveway to be safe for the residents of the street. The dumpster finally came back. All the debris was left in the driveway or in the front yard for over a week. Is this the way this township does construction sites? Where they rip the roof off, they rip everything off? I'm picking up roofing material because the dumpster's sitting in their driveway, not tarped or anything, with all this wind and everything. I'm picking up roofing material on the other side of my house now, okay? That's one. Number two, the basement, they have no heat in this house. They had no bathroom. That's why they needed a porta potty. Township told me call the police when somebody's out there peeing up against the garage. I have 2 young granddaughters, a 5 and 6-year-old, my wife in the house, and we got to watch the construction workers because they didn't bring a porta potty back, pee up against the garage and stuff. I called the police officer down. The police officer said nothing I could do. I didn't see it. I said, well, I took a picture here. Can't do nothing. I have to sign a complaint. I asked for the guy's name. Nobody gave me his name. The police officer would not get it also. Their basement froze because there's no heat or anything in the house. Filled the basement over halfway full of water. They're pumping it out in the driveway. Guess where all that water came? Right on my property. I'm on the downhill side. I need a whole house of water put on my property. That I don't need. I had to flood out my septic system, which I've been asking for years. When this township committee is going to do something? We're one of the oldest residential neighborhoods in the township, in the southeast quadrant, Ewing Gardens it was called. Never got sewers or water. We still don't have sewers and water and no plans to do it. So what's going to happen when my system fails? Public Works, when it snows and stuff, they should go around and clean catch basins out. I do the 5 around my houses on the neighborhoods and all. They never came down once on the 2 snows we had to clean the catch basins, you know, the snow out from in front of them. The pothole at 31, you have to slow down before you turn into the street. That's why I say that one's more dangerous than the one that was in front of my house. The yield side on 31 and 95, anybody got any results from that? I'm not sure if we heard anything else on that. The septic tank next door that was a permit that was not filled in properly, Gary said, oh, that's engineering, but health department issued a permit. It's over a year and a few months. Nothing been done on that. Why does it take so long for permits to be checked and everything like that? Why does it take 2-3 times coming here, 4, 5, 6 times? Coming here and asking, and still not a damn thing done. Thank you.
I don't see anyone else in the room. I do see 2 on Zoom.
Yeah. Deb Miliares, would you please unmute?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to finish what I had prepared earlier this evening. My final thoughts are, before additional large-scale housing projects continue to move forward, the township should clearly explain infrastructure, roads, schools, emergency services, utilities, cannot keep up with the pace of this development. My neighbor's sons go to Stony Brook. They both have 26 kids in their classrooms, which is definitely a burden on the teachers as well as the students' ability to learn. Because from the perspective of many residents, it feels like development decisions are being made faster than the infrastructure can support. I do recognize that Mr. Goodell had suggested and referred to the Mount Laurel decision. But we have to take into account what is our township's ability to absorb these additional homes, these additional cars, these additional students, and the builder's ability to put in however many units they want. I know that I referenced the Lennar tract over at the Hopewell collection. Those structures aren't even finished yet. Like the skeletons for other units are already, or rather still being put up. So we're not even finished with that yet. There are serious concerns in the community for public safety, quality of life, and the long-term sustainability. I see it all over social media. Unfortunately, no one comes to the meetings. It's always a few of us. And unfortunately, I am one of those citizens within our democracy that something had to happen like near to my home, which I love, in order for me to wake up and become active and help out and ask questions and become part of the process. Because when we're not part of this process, we're leaving all of these decisions to you all to make these commitments on our behalf. And we're not participating. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dean Innocenzi, please unmute. And you can speak, Mr. Innocenzi.
Hi, yes. I'm wondering if we know if the DEP has done any testing yet or anything like that on the land at Bull Run Road. If there's any news on that. And I guess just to a little bit echo Deborah, like it does just seem like, I don't know, I guess it just seems kind of like we're just like, oh, Mount Laurel decision, and then let the builders do whatever, and it's kind of like there's lots of towns that are fighting this and suing the state over this Mount Laurel thing. So I don't know, why can't we also push back? And I know we'll say, oh, well, we have in the past, but like, maybe get on board or at least ask some of these other towns, like what they're doing, because I mean, this is crazy, like how much stuff is going up around here is just, completely changing the landscape, like changing Hopewell into something else. And at least that's how we feel on this end of the township. And also, like, we were told the reason that stuff was being put down here was because of the land being, like, more suitable for these treatments of water and sewage, but, like, none of that is real excuses, because the land is just as rocky down here. So we've never even given a reason why everything's packed down here next to Ewing. So, I don't know. Just I think we deserve a lot more answers and effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on Zoom? I don't see anyone else in the room. Okay, with that, we will close public, and I will take these in reverse order this time. We'll change it up. Mr. Innocenzi, thank you for your comments. First, regarding your question on DEP testing on Bull Run, we are very early in the process of third round, or fourth round rather, and so those are critical steps that, as you said, are part of processes there. I'm not aware of any testing at the moment, but
the issues there are still between the property owner and a potential developer.
Yeah.
Township is not involved in that at this time.
yeah, that has been identified as a site.
Yes.
Uh,
TCNJ remains the property owner.
Correct.
I think they are still in discussions with possible developers.
Yeah. To your other comments, and this also speaks a little bit to Ms. Millares, some of your thoughts. We all appreciate concerns that many might have with how affordable housing is done in the state of New Jersey. I know many of us have spoken here to say, and I'll speak for myself, I actually think affordable housing is incredibly important. I think the processes and ways that it's done in New Jersey could be done better. Absolutely, there's room for improvements. None of us are a fan of necessarily the speed and the processes. But the point is, we, in terms of doing our duty to the residents of Hopewell Township, do have certain timelines, do have certain requirements to adhere to, and working within those, actually, to some of the thoughts on what that means for working with developers is quite the opposite, in that meeting these timelines, meeting these agreements actually protects us. It was one of the things that was actually on when you talk about immunity on the docket for tonight from builders' remedy lawsuits, which actually takes decision-making out of the hands of the township. But I do want to pass it over to Mr. Goodell on that, but also the outcomes of those lawsuits that were put in place.
So 423 municipalities in New Jersey adopted fair share plans.
Yeah.
27 sued. They joined together, led by Montville. They have lost at every level, including 2 weeks ago at the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. So at this point, they seem to be out of options.
And so if going through that approach, that would have cost the taxpayers of Hopewell Township significant funds, significant time not adhering to the process, which would have opened us up to builders' remedy lawsuits and other things there. But your points on the process, everyone, are what we're here to listen about and are well taken. Ms. Millares, just building on that, again, your concerns with roads and infrastructure we hear as commented on earlier. And again, broader when it comes to the township, it's why everyone on the committee, and I really want to commend my colleagues, as well as the township staff, have really championed proactive investment in public works, in police and other areas, recognizing the growth that the township is and will be going through. When it comes specifically to your note on Stony Brook and schools, number one, schools are their own entity, and so we are not here to comment on classroom sizes, how the school operates, et cetera. As we've talked about many times, every dollar that's in their budget, they are funded through us. But I do want to note, again, as we've discussed, that the township did separately go beyond what our normal tax levy is and what the normal school budget is in the $16.1 million commitment to Bear Tavern to support that. But I do want to note if our school liaison has anything else to add there.
So I want to take a slightly different approach to this question and just, push back a bit. No, builders don't get to build whatever they want. The people on this township committee have spent countless hours trying to figure out how to implement both the third round and the fourth round of our affordable housing mandate. The staff has done the same. Mr. Goodell has done the same. We have done everything that we can, looking long and hard to make sure that anything that is done is the right thing to do for everybody in the community, existing residents and new ones. We looked how we can manage the growth. There are one-bedroom units that are unlikely to have children who will join schools. There are a number of age-restricted units. There are other steps that we have taken to try to reduce that. There have been demographic studies by the schools that we have contributed to. We know what the facts are. And I would just like to submit that social media is not necessarily reality when it comes to government policy and what we have done.
both of you said earlier is, and I'm also a member of the planning board, and planning board takes every application very seriously, go through every possible thing, the township regulations before, I mean, every application is scrutinized to the level of every possible extent that we can control the, taking into account as the schools, the traffic, and, as Mr. Goodell said earlier, that also is part of the planning board review. So again, I can just reiterate that township committee as well as our boards and commissions go through every possible thing to control this. And again, we all support the affordable housing. That's going to be part of our integral community, and we will be welcoming them, our new neighbors.
Great, thank you. Mr. Fletcher, thank you again for your comments and your notes. I, as always, appreciate you sharing your concerns. Again, happy to follow up, and we will on many of the specific ones. But the couple things that I do just want to note there is we will look into that pothole. Again, when you talk through safety, as Mr. Snyder noted earlier, there may be, depending on where that lay in terms of who, but we will communicate that if it's not municipal, but we will look into that. We have followed up recently on the yield sign, still in process, but again, and I want to give credit to our assemblyman, Anthony Varelli, who has been looking into that as well. With regards to the dumpsters, we will look into, and I'm sure it already has. I don't know what the specific rules are there, so I don't want to comment specifically, but as that was a newer thing brought up on that today, I will follow up there. And Mr. Byrd, it sounds like your question was answered. All right, so with that, we're going to move on to our executive session, and we will be taking action. We may be taking action, I should say. We may be taking action. With that, can I have a motion to move into executive?
So
Second?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Whereas it is necessary for the Township Committee to discuss real estate, legal, contract negotiations, and/or personnel matters, and whereas NJSA 10:4-12 permits the Township Committee to conduct a meeting from which the public is excluded in order to discuss such matters, and whereas the time when and circumstances under which discussion conducted in executive session may be disclosed to the public is when appropriate. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Hopewell, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, that the Township Committee shall forthwith conduct an executive session to discuss the above. Be it further resolved that the scope of the aforesaid executive session will be limited to the above matters as stated. We are now in executive. Thank you, everybody, and please be safe driving home in this weather and stay dry.